What's up, guys? It's Hike Thoughts. Today's hike thought: your body fat is a symptom of your addiction. Now think about that. I talk to people all the time who are addicted to food, and they might not even know it, but they seriously have the same symptoms and act the same as like an alcoholic would, who's in denial. I see this all the time. Ask yourself, are you addicted to food truly? Do you have a relationship with food where you are trying so hard not to eat things and you go off on a diet for a week, then you go off the diet, right? Or have you ever started to think about cutting out sugar or other things that you have and you start to get anxiety thinking about it? You ever have a day like that? You gotta think, like, it's not so bad to cut shit out. I meet people all the time who are like, John, I'm a foodie. I love food and I don't want to give this up or that up, and I want to have a cheat day or a cheat meal. Every week they're thinking about this stuff. Some people can work in moderation, but think about a real alcoholic. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but alcoholics, they got to cut that shit out completely. You can't be having one or two, because you binge. They do this kind of thing like that where they hold off long enough and they have just one and they binge. And I see people do this kind of thing with food all the time and they relapse. Some people can have one drink. Some people can chill like that. Some people can't. You got to realize that. And I want some people to think about things that I had to do with food is working really well for me once I got the concept and the idea that I could cut some of these things out of my life completely. I don't want a little bit in moderation sometimes. I know nutritionists say that it's all about being healthy, like mentally healthy about food, having a good relationship with food. You can't have a good relationship with alcohol and things that are addictive. These food companies are making these hyper palatable foods and sugar so damn addicting, they put electrodes on your brain, try to see how much dopamine this shit releases. That's fucking crazy. You start to get dopamine damage in your brain. You have spikes of dopamine and then it crashes, and then you have this stuff that you have to fix in your brain. Just like drugs. These foods are not what they used to be. I want people to consider living a life where that's just not an option anymore. And when I say you have to cut these foods out completely, people freak the fuck out. They start saying like, oh, well, I'm not going to be like that. It's too restrictive or this and that. It's okay to just eat a little bit of food sometimes. You know what I mean? It's okay to have just natural foods and just a meat, a vegetable, and rice, and you're eating for fuel sometimes. It doesn't always have to be for pleasure. That's what drinking is. That's what drugs are. You start treating food like a pleasure all the time, and you're now addicted to something. So think about that. I mean, even with sugars, I think about this all the time. They have diet drinks and diet stuff and artificial sweeteners. That's literally like fucking methadone. That's like to help wean you off of serious drugs. You're like, you can have a little bit of this and it's almost like it, not the quite thing, because the real thing is too bad for you. These are just hike thoughts. These are things that I think of, and just remember this. Your body is a reflection and representation of your mind. If you have a healthy mind, your body's going to be healthy too. If you have an addicted mind, it's going to look sad, fat, have all kinds of different problems. And as soon as you admit to yourself that you have an addiction, right, that's the first step. That's the first step. Admit you have a problem. Then you can really start to heal and get a real good relationship with food. Again, this is just my opinion. People are going to be pissed off about it, but they're probably addicted to food. I see it all the time. I see nutritionists all the time that are addicted to food. I don't know. Just stuff to think about. Leave a comment how pissed off you are. All right. Hike thoughts.